Hello, everybody. I'm Cristina Chumillas. I'm designer and front-end developer at Imbra, a Drupal shop, Drupal agency in Barcelona. Let me say that we are hiring if you are looking for a job, both in Barcelona or remote work. We accept both, so just search for us later. You can find me on Twitter as Chumillas or on Drupal.org as Cristina. Today I'm going to talk about responsive images, and I'm going to start with the basics. Why? Because I've been doing some presentations for some years, and I have to say that I hate being here. I just get really nervous, and I said, okay, next year I'm going to talk about something that I really know. I've been doing responsive images for some years, and I said, I'm going to talk about responsive images. Everything is controlled. Until I started the search for the presentation, and I said, oh no, I'm just doing it wrong. So I'm going to start with the basics, and I'm going to explain to you what I was doing wrong and what you can do to not do it that wrong. And later I'm going to talk about responsive images in Drupal, how are the different ways you have for doing them. Later I'm going to talk about art directions with some contribs, some really cool contrib modules, and finally just a small thing about how you can work with responsive images in what you see is what you get in Drupal 8. So let's start in the beginning. Some years ago, in 2014, the average page wasn't still 2 megabytes, but it's been increasing year after year after year. And last year, in 2016, it was almost 2.5 megas, and that's a lot. Imagine that you are in a mountain, or people that is, for example, in India, someone that doesn't have good 3G, for example, 2.5 megas, it's more than a minute. And they can be waiting for your website a lot. So it's really bad, and we have to take that into account. Some facts about images on the web. They are about 60% of the traffic of the web, the whole web traffic. So whatever you do to improve responsive images, to improve the size of your images, will have a huge impact on your website. Also, we know that images load asynchronously, and something that actually happens in most of the websites is that images are too big for the device that is downloading it. So people usually get bigger images on the devices. So the aim is to deliver the highest quality images supported for the device, and nothing more. So if you are using a mobile, you just need to download, for example, a 500 pixels image, but not bigger. So let's start with the basics. Let's start with scaled images that are not art direction images. And some information about that. There are two persons you have to take into account: the person that is coding, the author of the image, and the browser. And each of them have different information when they are creating the website, writing the website and creating the images, or loading the page. So for example, view dimensions. The author doesn't know the view dimensions that the final user is going to use to download your page. But the browser, because it's on the device, it knows. The author knows the image size relative to the viewport, because the author knows the design and knows that, for example, on desktop, the image is going to be 33% or 50% of the viewport. So the author knows it. But the browser didn't know it before this new specification. But now, with the sizes attribute, the author knows it. Then also the screen density, the author doesn't know the final user density, but the browser knows. So you see the one that has most of the information is the browser. And finally, the source file's dimension, the pixels for each image, the author knows it because he's doing it, he's creating them. But the browser didn't know it because he don't know the image width until he gets the image. So he doesn't know the width of the file that is going to request until the new specification. And now what we've done is to give all the information that the author knew to the browser, so the browser is the one that is going to decide the images that is going to be loaded. So it's really important to give this information properly to the browser. If you want more information, you have here this source. I think it's the best post that I've read about that. So take a look to it if you have time and you want to know something else about it. So here's the anatomy of a scaled image. We have the old image img tag. Then you have the new src property and the sizes one, the old src for Internet Explorer and these people, and the alternative image. So the rc set is just about saying to the browser the width of the image. So for example, we have the large one. It's 440 pixels width. It has this width, so we just use the W to say to the browser, hey, you have these three choices, these three options. Take the one that suits better for this information. So then you have sizes, and you say, from 36 AMs, I want that the image occupy the 30%, the 33.3 viewport width, so 33% of the width of the device. So taking that into account, the browser will decide which of the three images is going to load before loading any one of them. So the browser is going to choose the best one and will forget about the other ones. So sizes, it's just putting the CSS media query into an image. And it's not mobile first, it's mobile last, but anyway. You have, for example, from the mean width from 36 AMs, it's going to be the 33% width, but on smaller devices, it's going to be 100%. So here's the full anatomy. And that's an scaled image. So you see, it's not picture, it's IMG. That's what I was doing wrong. Because when you have a scaled image, you have the same image, exactly the same proportions. But what if you want a hero image? You see, the one is horizontal, the other is vertical, so here we have art direction. And here where pictures comes and solve this problem. Because picture declares that source. Here you have two sources, one for the horizontal image and the other for the vertical one. So that's the difference. Unless you are changing the proportions for the image, you have to use the IMG tag, not the picture one, because it's wrong. semantically. I mean, it's going to work anyway, but you should use picture only if you're changing proportions. And the best thing on that is that Drupal core already does it, and I didn't know. So what picture does is you have the two sources, and for each one you declare the src set, the sizes, you see, and for each one you declare the media. The media says to the browser which source needs to be used on each device. So it's the same, but adding some more information. It's almost in every browser but Internet Explorer. It's been some years, and every year I have to put this information with Internet Explorer. So here's the Internet Explorer slide. So it works on every browser, but Internet Explorer and Opera Mini. And for Internet Explorer, you have the picture field, the responsive image picture field, but you don't have to worry if you are working with Drupal, because it's already there. So let's talk about doing responsive images in Drupal in the two ways, both for EMGs or for scaled or for picture. So a little bit of history. On Drupal 7, we have several approaches. We have the RESP EMG. It was the name of the module at the beginning, and then it was called to picture. And then we have Breakpoint. They work together. The main committers are Gel, S, and Atix. If you ever see them, just say thank you, because it was already there on 2014. I mean, it's a long time ago, and they were already doing all that stuff. So I have to say that they did a great work. Then another approach was adaptive images, or AIS, adaptive image style. There were other modules that had a lot of installations also. And the other approach was the client-side adaptive images. It was a completely different approach. In Drupal 8, what we had is the picture module into core. It's recalled responsive images, but the machine name is still picture. And its dependencies are breakpoint and, well, image, file, and field. It's on core. It's disabled by default, so if you want to work with responsive images, you need to enable it. And then the process. The process for creating responsive images is important, because you can start with the last one, because you will need the previous information. You start creating the breakpoints, creating them on the YAML, and then importing to Drupal. Then you need to plan and create the image styles, and then you create the responsive image. With the breakpoints you define it, and the image styles you created. And finally, you apply it on a view more, on a view, wherever you choose to use it. So let's start with the beginning. Breakpoints. The breakpoints can be created both, can be declared both for themes or by modules. The only thing that you have to do is create a YAML file. You add the name of your module. For example, here we have Bartik or toolbar. Is the name of the module breakpoints.yaml. And inside this file, you just have to create the breakpoints as they were media queries. It's just a way to put the media queries from CSS into a YAML so Drupal can read it. So you just use the name of your module or theme dot the machine name for your breakpoint. And for each of them, you declare the label, the media query itself, for example, for mobile, because we want it to apply on each one. We don't declare the media query, because it will be all, so we don't say anything. But for the narrow, for example, we say here all and minim width and whatever. So as a media query, we declare it here. And then we just create the width and the multiplier. So we just give this information, and we load it to, once we have the module or the theme enabled, we already have these breakpoints inside the Drupal. Then the next step is create the image styles. I thought it was a really easy step until I talked about that with some colleagues. And every time they had to prepare the image styles, they said, but again, can you explain me again how I decide each image style? So I said, okay, let's put it in the easier way, and probably it will be useful for the presentation also. With the design, you usually have the breakpoints. So whatever it is a Sketch, HTML, Photoshop, whatever, you have the breakpoints. So in this one, for example, we have these three different ones. So we will have the mobile, then from 480 for the tablet or whatever you call it, and the other one. So, having these breakpoints, you decide for each one, you take the bigger one, the bigger image that you could have, you take the biggest size, and then you take from there the margins. The gutter, for example, here we will have two images, so we just split on two. And here is the image for the tablet. And then you have to scale it for smaller situations, and here it comes the plan for the images styles. I know it sounds, you don't need to do it, but at the end it can save you a lot of time. Here is the presentation for Mark Drummond. He gave a 1 hour presentation about planning your image styles. If you're doing a huge page with a lot of image styles, it can save you a lot of time. It was actually in New Orleans. I was in New Orleans and I said, responsive images, I know about responsive images, I'm not going to see to watch that presentation. And when I discovered the presentation and I watched the presentation, it was like, wow, I should have gone there. So let me explain you. For example, we said on the tablet, we are going to use the 345 pixels size, but then we need to remember, we don't want to load a bigger image than the device needs. So we need to prepare some other image styles for smaller tablets. And then for the mobile, imagine that our breakpoint is at 480. If the image is 100%, so we have the bigger image for the mobile. It's going to be 480 pixels. So what we do is just scale up, or in this case, we scale down 45%. It's a good number. Because with smaller jumps, you will end up with doing a lot of image styles. And with bigger ones, at the end, you are going to load a bigger image than you need. So I didn't invent it. Mark said it in this presentation, and since then, I always apply this. So we will start with 400%. We scale down 480 pixels. We scale it down 385, and so on. And then we try to combine different image styles in different sizes on different breakpoints. So if you can see here, what we did is just cross all them because they are repeated, and we end up with just 4 image styles. And it can save you a lot of time doing image styles for each time. So if you want more information, just watch his presentation. It's great. I'm going to share the slides so you can take the address for the video. So if we go, we've just created the breakpoints, we created the images styles, then we have these 2 situations. The one is with the scaled image, and the other one is the picture one. So let's start with the scaled image. You remember that the scaled is with the EMG tag. So we don't need to use picture. And we don't need breakpoints here. So I've prepared a demo, a really fast demo. If you want to watch it, there's a video on Vimeo. I will upload the slides so that you will find the link to see it, to watch it slower. So here I create each image style. I don't work that fast, for sure. You choose a scale and crop, put the image width, and then, yeah, always happens the same. And then, what is really important here is that I haven't chosen the regular breakpoint. What I choose is the responsive image one. It comes by default with Drupal core. It comes with the responsive image. And what it does is just put 1 breakpoint here. And here in this breakpoint is where you define the different sizes, you choose the different image styles, and where you add the sizes information. So you select multiple image styles, and here, for example, you add information for the desktop. Remember, it's a mobile last, so for the desktop, it's 30% of the width. Then you choose the image styles, the fallback image, and then you have it. Then you just go to in this case, the display mode, choose the responsive image, and you have it. So here you can see the images changing. But the important thing here is that Drupal by itself has created the EMG tag, not the picture one. And what it puts is also the width for each image style. So if you see here, Drupal already created, for example, the 240, whatever for each image style. So you have a scaled image. You don't use picture. So that's what I was doing wrong. I always used breakpoints. So you don't need to use breakpoints because it's just the same image, just scaled. And what about art direction? Remember, art direction is picture using different sources with different images. You could use not only not in Drupal core, but the picture itself will let you use an SVG or SVG, or a PNG or whatever for each source. So what the difference here is that instead of using responsive image, I'm not going to do all the process again, but here you choose the breakpoint that you created, and that's all. For each breakpoint, you choose the image that you need. Choose the several ones if you want for each them. choose the fallback image, and that's all. That's the difference from having art direction or having a scaled image. So that's what Drupal core let you do. Then let's go to contrib modules. I always say that we are really, really, really lucky in Drupal because last year for the presentation I was giving about doing responsive in general, I was looking for responsive images outside Drupal, outside our known places, and it's not that easy. They don't have that easy life as us, because we don't only have responsive images in Core, but we have actually solutions for giving to the final user control to crop the images. So let's start with this. Remember, our direction is having different images, different proportions. So imagine that you have a picture with the face. What if the face is on the left? By default, responsive images is going to crop on the center, so you will lose the face. So people from the Media Initiative has done a huge work. And one of the things that they have done is an API for cropping images. And that module is required for the two options that I'm going to explain to you. The first one is the image widget crop. That will be the solution that gives more control to the final user. So if you see the GIF, what it does is the give to the final user the choice to pick the part of the image that they want, and also to zoom, to choose exactly which part of the image is going to be shown. It's really easy to do, but it requires for each crop, for each proportion, for the user to take care of it, to choose the crop. So I've prepared a demo. This one is really, really fast. I'm going to stop, but if you want to see the full process, here you have the URL for the video. So first we create crop types. So for example, this one is going to be for the hero image. Here we have several crop types. And then we go to the image styles. And for the image styles, for example, let's create a hero image with horizontal proportion. We choose manual crop. We choose the crop type that we want to apply, and then we scale the image, because remember that we want several images for each breakpoint. For example, in this one, we choose 980, and if we create another one, we choose, for example, the XL, the bigger one, and we choose the manual crop. Again, we choose the same proportion, and we scale again to the image that we want. Then the next step is giving to the, well, you see we have several hero images, and then the next one is creating the image, the responsive image itself. Let's say hero image, we choose the breakpoint, and for each one, as any other responsive image, we choose the image styles we created with the manual crop, the fallback for Internet Explorer, and then we go to then we go to the form view mode. And instead of using the form display, by default, widget for the image that comes by default on the image form? OK, I'm finishing. Then you choose the widget that comes with image widget crop. You choose this widget, and then you pick the crop types that you need for this image style. Then you go to the view mode itself to choose the image style. And that's the interface. Here you can choose for each crop that you have chosen, whatever it is. So you see, you can do it bigger, do it smaller, to put on the left, on the right, adjust. But you see, the user is taking a lot of time to choose each of them. So it's not automated. It requires a lot of time. Then it also says you if you have chosen a smaller one. And then you see it changes. For each one, it changes the proportions, and you can load whatever you need on each one. So it gives you full control, but it requires a long implementation. You've seen it's a really long video, so unless you really need it, don't use it. Well, use it if you need, for example, for hero image or these kind of things, but otherwise, choose focal point. A lot of people is talking about it right now. A lot of people is discovering it, and it's really, really useful because for the final user, it's only picking the important part for the image. For example, let's see there's a face on the photo. So the user picks a face, and all the other is automatic. So, for example, picking the road here, and it's going to be automatic. It's the only thing that the user has to do. And for the implementation, it's super easy. It's just creating a responsive image like you are doing in Drupal core, but instead of using scale and crop from Drupal core, you choose scale and crop from focal point. And that's all. That's all that you have to do for using focal point. And you're done. You've created responsive images with art direction and with full control for the final user. And the implementation is exactly the same, so you don't have any excuse for not using this contrib module. And it's already done. It's working. So you see, it's all you have to do is it. And for the final user, it's just picking. They even can preview each crop. So use it. Nothing stops you. And that's all. You have responsive images with art direction. So it gives you basic art direction. It doesn't give you the full control, for example, for a hero image or whatever. But it requires low effort, really, really low effort. So that's all. And finally, to end, the nightmare of using responsive images. I don't know if you ever have tried it. Using it inside, what you see is what you get. Now you have this module. There are some small issues yet, but what you can do is the user picks the image, and on the browser to choose the image itself, they can choose the image style. You just explain to the user what does it mean, and that's all. That's all they have to do. So in conclusions, plan your responsive images before implementing them, because you can save a lot of time planning them. And finally, use focal point if you don't need full control. And that's all. Thank you.
Hello? First of all, thank you for the speech. It was amazing as always. All the examples you have put in the presentation were for Drupal 8.
Yeah.
What if you are working with Drupal 7?
No problem.
The modules have their version, everything was fine?
Everything is in Drupal 7. What I intentionally forgot about the difference between 7 and 8 is that you have lazy loading on Drupal 7, a part of everything. So it's the picture module and the breakpoints one are on Drupal 7, and that's all you need. And focal point is also there. I think image widget crop is not on Drupal 7, or maybe it's there, but it's a different implementation. I don't know. I haven't tried it in Drupal 7. No. Okay. Focal point is there, so
yeah.
that for sure. Okay. Okay. So any other one? You will have the demos on the slides, so the videos, so if you want, yeah.
Is with it. That lazy load is also with responsive images, but I haven't seen the format when in view mode display.
Which format you mean?
When you control the view mode of a node or taxonomy or any entity, you have to format the image, the widget for the field. I have seen on Drupal 8 lazy, that is lazy load, but I haven't seen that for responsive image format, and you have say...
In Drupal 7 it works. In Drupal 8 there's an issue for that.
Okay,
they are working on that, and it's at least 1 month ago it wasn't. They were working on that. Okay. It's not. That's why I didn't say it.
Wait.
Yeah. It's okay, not already finished.
I haven't listened Drupal 7. Sorry.
Yeah. In Drupal 7, by default, it's just a click when you choose the responsive image in the view mode or on the views or whatever you are choosing it. It's just a click there, lazy load, and it's worked. The first day I saw it, it was like lazy loading with just a click. I love Drupal, so yeah, it's working on Drupal 7, not in Drupal 8 right now.
We have to wait.
Yeah. Or help them, but I don't have the skills for that.
It's difficult.
So, anything else? Thank you.